Sure.
So Ian, what I've been trying to do is, and I guess we can work that out, is I'm trying to collect all the relevant links and stuff in the OuRChain.cc directory, document, which I'm hoping that, as an open collaborative document, community members will pitch in here and keep things up to date, and then this becomes a kind of a checklist in terms of things that need to be on the website and such. But the basic idea is to allow the community to create an autonomous organization of members, which will which are people involved in the community activities, and we will be we have some sponsorship from Rchain fan and myself for some bounties. They're not much at present. We're hoping to get more. We have people here now. Some of these people, names here are people that signed up from Scenario CC. So I don't know how many will be staying on. But we have a bounty payoff matrix, and we have December bounties in AMPS, in Dippy, and in Crypto Index. We're hoping at some point that because the community is not part of the co-op or anything, that we may be able to get a bounty in our coin from the co-op without this distribution being considered employment or anything else. What we have right now is this work on the Slacks, the documents, the website, and IT. The outreach is all in one category now, although Patrick wants to break it down, possibly into a separate sheet that records the outreach activities in the various channels that we'll be approaching. There's an outreach document that we're using as a model that was created for Divi. Trustee ID, well, this is really BYOID. The Bring Your Own ID, which is a project that is moving along. Essentially, it will be an open ID that will collect identity information that is provable.
Hey, Jim, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So do we want to use language like the community is not part of the co-op? For me, that would feel somewhat divisive. I think what I'm attempting to do with the cooperative structure is make membership, like the barrier to entry to membership, to be, almost nothing. And then,
my feeling is that whatever the co-op is, there's always a community that extends beyond it. And this,
Okay. I like that language a lot.
uh,
That's nice language.
okay, and in the co-op structure, you have the four pillars of cooperative governance, and the member owners at the top of each column, and now I guess this becomes a little ambiguous here, because what I was talking about here, and this of course is only one way, and that's really up to you how you do it, but I remember you talking about the multi-branch structure that way back when for scenario, and so I came up with essentially 5 branches here.
Right. Understood. I tried to keep it at 3, but 5 is okay.
Well, the advisors are only there to resolve disputes.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I think that
we're going to have overlap in terms of token holders, OuRChain users, co-op members, and node operators, obviously.
Yeah, agreed. But I think this articulation is probably more realistic, right? And there are going to be node operators,
Right.
and they may or may not be advisors, but they have a different kind of stake in the game. And I didn't really articulate that in the way I thought about the governance. But I think you're right to call it out, because I mean, if you think about it, miners are one of the biggest contingents, right? One of the most powerful contingents in the Bitcoin blockchain. So calling this out in this way is probably a good point.
So I think in a meeting earlier today, we went over most of this. I don't know what questions we have, or what advice you may have in terms of moving onward. I mean, I'm trying to help Patrick as much as I can to flesh this out, and he's
Right. Well, I mean, from my point of view, I feel really bound to conduct the coin conversion. I've talked through with a lot of community members, a lot of investors, and the coin conversion seems to be exactly what's needed. And so I feel kind of honor bound to conduct the coin conversion. But that, as soon as we say that the coin conversion is going to happen, then a whole bunch of other things have to happen, right? The co-op has to be incorporated, so that the entity that creates the coins or issues the coins and distributes the Rcoin zero tokens is not myself personally, but the co-op.
right.
And which means that there are bylaws and there are a number of other interesting things that follow on from that. So the coin conversion is kind of this forcing function. It also makes it clear investor preferences. The coin conversion event is like the super positive event in the sense that it clarifies so many things all at once. And so that's why I've been pursuing that as vigorously as possible, and why I'm trying to follow the community member who goes by 7 of 1, right? His proposal was that there was indeed a period of information gathering. So that's what we've been going through. I also think it's really important to not extend that for too long, because people will lose track, right? The Christmas holidays are upon us. We'll be losing we'll be losing focus and interest. So all of that needs to be addressed kind of in a timely fashion. So those are some of the things that are occupying my attention.
Yeah, and I mean, we have here the suggested best practices for co-op, and some of it is copied in here and modified somewhat and commented on the community. But this isn't the whole document of best practices. And it seems to be a very sensible document.
Yeah, I agree.
And it includes the auditing processes and everything.
I think also because we have to move with some agility and speed. I think what I would recommend is that we also leave room open for changes post facto.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we recognize that the bylaws have to be amended, and that we have maybe a more lax amendment process for the first 6 weeks, and then the amendment, the difficulties of amending things ratchets up as we have a So that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it.
Absolutely. It's perfect. We definitely need the flexibility. We may need flexibility for a year.
Yeah, agreed. But we don't want it to be the case that someone can just come in and.
Absolutely. We want it to be like a constitution.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. So for some period of time, it's going to be relatively easy because we have no clue what we're doing. But
right.
as we learn more about what it is we're doing, then
there's so much information. I mean, some of these other references are excellent here too.
Yeah, agreed.
And there's just so much information that we couldn't. It's much better to be less specific.
Well, we want to be Occam-like, right? As specific as is necessary and no more.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. And there was some voting going on. Who set that up? There was, in polling station. Who set that up? And can you walk me through that?
Yeah. I guess it was just set up by one, right?
Okay.
And this was how many coins should be minted.
Got it. Yeah. So go ahead.
This is something that a good number of investors are really bent out of shape about having $1 billion out there. So you look at, 8 people think that there should only be 100 million.
Understood. And I actually have a way to address all of that. But that's why I want people to come to the table so we can talk it through, right? I mean, all of these numbers have been driven by, the existing AMP structure. But once we have the conversion event, and the conversion event is closed, we can get rid of certain kinds of things. Right. So once investors have expressed preference with respect to OuRChain versus AMPs, then it's perfectly reasonable to get rid of the treasury, although we still have to be concerned with long-range attacks, right? It could be the case that if our coins are traded, then, over time, various agents, take a controlling interest in our coin without, the most positive intent. So that's the reason for the treasury. And again, it's not my design, right? This design came to me through deliberations with Vlad Zamfir and Vitalik and Ryan Strauss and Rick Dudley. So I have, I don't really have a horse in this race, and I don't want to be holding on to any giant treasury of anything, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
But this really has to do with making sure that OuRChain co-op isn't sort of subject to a long-range hostile takeover.
Right, and it's when if you have it's like flipping a coin. When you have an attack or whatever, and the guy with the biggest bankroll is going to be the winner ultimately. If it's being gamed in some way.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able, to take it, hits, double or nothing, 10 times or whatever.
That's exactly right. No, exactly right. And that's what the Treasury is there for, is to provide that kind of buffer for a sufficient period of time. And then, there doesn't have to be, any sort of dilution, right? That's not the intent at all.
Well, in the long term, we do intend some kind of inflation, right?
So we do intend that there are mechanisms whereby there's enough reservoirs and supplies that we can keep the currency stable.
Right, and using the Benjamin Franklin or Milton Friedman philosophy. Well, Milton Friedman said the currency supply should be controlled by computer, and that's what we'll be doing. I imagine.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, but again, the design of the currency is a fairly subtle thing, and I think I'm just inviting healthy debate and discussion from everyone, and especially those people who are on polling station, to come and come and have a discussion about it, so that people understand what the motivations are in each of these things. I think the desideratum are essentially to protect and defend against long range hostile takeover, and then on a more positive side, to have enough reservoir to be able to make sure that the currency remains healthy. So that's I think that's the real nub of the matter. And so I would hope that those investors who are concerned about this, just come and chat, and we can work it through.
Well, I guess 3:00 we're having that meeting.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Yeah. I really appreciate you putting that document together. I fully support, the OuRChain community. I think this is a great movement. At the end of the day, our right to assemble is one of our fundamental rights, right? We need to be able to assemble, and there could be.
My philosophy is this: is that there's always the emergence of the masses, okay, which uncontrolled tends to be dysfunctional. I'm trying to rein in those masses, so to speak, in terms of creating creating an environment, and I think the main thing here, if we where are we? Is the process for bringing in the process for the process for which was always a big problem with scenario is the
aggregation of community signal.
Well, no, that's not what I'm talking about here. Oh, the community initiative bootstrap process.
Yes. Understood. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is where somebody comes in You say, gee, I have this idea, you know, I want to sell stickers or something stupid, whatever. Okay, we bring them into the community, that they get a critical mass of support, and, you know, there's, we can see a benefit, you know, it's something we can offer bounties on through whatever sponsorship we can get. I mean, as time goes on, different kinds of sponsorship, more kinds of sponsorship would be available. People.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right, and we want to be able to support that. So, and you know, I mean, the main thing is that there has to be several different healthy mechanisms whereby people can find kind of the right level and the right path to engagement. You know what I mean? I mean, it's yeah. And so I think what you're outlining are some effective ways for people to be engaged and to find sort of the right path for them to be engaged.
Yeah. You know, I guess in the last meeting after you left with Ed, he was saying that, you know, the co-op can't really, you know, pay bounties or whatever that easily without them being employees. And that was one of the things we were trying to address here. But, you know, it's like we already had one dropout because, you know, I'm not going to be doing this if, you know, if we're not going to get any reward for it. You know, this is, you know, my time is too valuable. So we have one person on strike already.
Yeah, I mean, obviously bounties are an important part of engagement. I'm not sure what Ed was thinking there. But, you know, for sure the co-op should be able to pay bounty to community members, right? It's a natural way to get stuff done.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we get a mechanism where, you know, they can offer bounties on, you know, projects in the community where I can't even the projects.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Now we want to create an amp economy so that we can trade goods and services among ourselves, and we want to do. We sort of have to do that outside the co-op. I think maybe not.
Well, you mean an Rchain economy?
Yeah, OuRChain.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. You know, an active and vibrant economy, you know, needs people engaged, and so it's a perfectly reasonable and laudable thing to do. Just, you know, get people organized in that way, and then help them, you know, be able to find the projects or tasks or things that they want to participate in, activities they want to participate in, and then utilize the tokens as part of the way they engage, right? As long as there's an understanding that the tokens are principally there, you know, as a utility to engage the platform.
Right, and you know, even you know, I keep saying this, and maybe it's not true. You know, I would say even if the compensation doesn't have a terribly great monetary value, people do get credit for their work in the sense that, you know, it's, you know, they are being recognized for their participation.
Indeed.
And you know, sometimes that's more important than the money, unless you need the money to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna jump off now, I think, because I have to prepare for the upcoming meetings. But I think this has been a really useful conversation. I'm more up to speed on what you're doing and what your ideas are here, and I'm very supportive of what's going on. I think it's been a good, it's definitely a positive influence.
Hey, Greg, sorry.
Yeah.
Hamza and I were asking a couple questions in the chat. I don't know if you usually have the chat open.
Sorry, I didn't see those.
Okay, you don't really, it's your choice if you want to address these now or later, but if you could just have a look.
Okay. Well, if you burn the amps afterwards, then that would be that would make the amp holdings that OuRChain has more valuable, I would guess. So I wouldn't do that. Yeah, I don't really see. Again, the point of the coin redemption is not funding, right? We have an alternative approach to funding. The point of the coin redemption is so that investors have a clear path from what they invested in to the outcome, right? And that's number one. So
I'm really glad to hear that. I was afraid.
no, it's not about funding. It's about making sure that the investors who invested in OuRChain via the scenario second coin offering.
And are you challenging the board action or following that up in any way, or do you need any help with that?
So I don't feel the need to challenge the board action, and to be perfectly honest, based on what I'm hearing from community members, the board did me a favor, because this effectively they've made a clean separation between the scenario that is acting in this manner and myself, creating a trail of evidence that I have conducted myself completely consistently with what we said to investors we were offering and what we are offering.
Yeah, great. I'm very, very grateful for that. I was hoping for a clean breakup myself. I feel bad for the some of the investors and amp holders. So that's why I'm asking for them if there's any other way you think you might be able to get control of some of the monies that they really gave to.
Yeah, that's really out of my control, right? Because I'm no longer on the board. I'm no longer associated in any way with the company, right? So I don't have any standing unless I were to take this matter to court. But I think the best thing to do is to let others who have indicated to me that they are driving such a process drive that process, while I'm focusing on the positive side of getting. Of making OuRChain happen.
Yeah, I think any action on your part at this point could be a potential liability.
Right. So mostly what I'm focused on is making sure the thing that we promised investors is what gets built. Right. So I'm in the process of doing that on multiple fronts, from building the organizational infrastructure to building the the legal infrastructure, and also building the code out. So that's all, just like what I can do personally that positively impacts the process of delivering OuRChain. Now,
I got you.
Other people
Yeah.
have indicated to me in fairly clear terms that other kinds of actions are being pursued. But that's not for me to comment on. Of course, I do believe that justice justice is a good value, and I support justice.
Okay. Well, I'm not pursuing any action myself, but I do have pretty extensive archives. If that's going to be helpful to you or whomever.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'll definitely put you in touch with people as they come forward.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I had one.
Go ahead.
I bought a bunch of amps this morning, and I made about 5% on them so far. I'm expecting that the amp will rise significantly after they announce their architecture at the end of January. And I mean, it just occurs to me that, you know, the value that the people who bought in the crowd sale at whatever it was, 20 cents, whatever. That was sort of an expectation value before this whole thing, starting value before this whole thing started. And I don't know, I'm just thinking that as a rule of thumb, that should be taken to be the value of the Rcoin initially.
Okay. I mean, I would much rather just let the market decide all that. Right? Just the investors will make it clear which coin they wish to support, which project they wish to support, and then they will trade the coin accordingly.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of using, using that value in terms of payment of bounties. To be frugal, so to speak.
Sure, right. I understand. I'm sort of that's right now. I'm focused on very short-term steps. Right. I need to get the articles of incorporation filed. I need to, which means there are a bunch of things that have to be done.
Right? I know if there's anything you want me to do, just let me know. I mean,
cool.
I look, just reviewing the things. I mean, this stuff looks okay to me. I mean, I don't know really where it needs help.
No, I appreciate that, Jim. That input actually helps a lot. Awesome. Ian, Hamza, others that were asking questions in the chat, have I covered everything that was important?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Hamza, did I cover things on your end?
He says, yes, thank you.
Okay, good. All right, great. Then let's...
I'll try to tune in later. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to everyone. We'll see you guys in about an hour.
All right.
Ciao.